We spent like, I think it was, what, 4 hours planning this first. Welcome back to another episode of the Clever Creator Podcast. We got something super special for you guys today. We've got a guest. I'm going to first let my co-host introduce himself, and then we'll talk to you guys who we've got today.
My name's Tennyson. You should know me by now if you're a listener. If not, I'm Tennyson.
And we have a special guest. We're going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll get into the topics we're going to talk about today for you guys. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'd love to. Thanks for inviting me on. I'm so happy to be here. My name's Natalia Hepworth. I work at BYU Idaho Radio. I'm the radio programming coordinator. I help manage about 15 students with my manager, Brandon Isle, and I've been in the broadcasting / digital marketing space for about 10 years. So excited to be here and excited to be on another podcast. It's awesome.
We're thrilled to have you. So for our listeners here, you're going to get to know her just a little bit better, but Natalia has a very specific set of skills that we're going to highlight today.
Just like Liam Neeson.
Just like me. I have a very particular set of skills.
That was a great quote.
But it's she's very talented, right? So we're really excited to have her to we're gonna help make some connections from what she's good at, how she works, with how you can present yourself, how you can connect with people, how you can make those genuine connections and keep them.
Yeah. We're also going to have sort of a sub-theme where we're going to talk a little bit more, too, about how she handles content creation. She's phenomenal at regularly posting and posting quality content, not just slapping stuff up on the wall like it's spaghetti.
That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
There's
Seriously,
nothing wrong with spaghetti.
Too many of you. I can't believe that this is still a problem, but it is, especially in the beginning of like when you're starting out as a creative. But too many of you throw spaghetti at the wall like that. You post on Instagram maybe twice, and then you're like, why am I not getting any leads? And you're like, you posted twice. If I could post twice and be successful, then everyone would be successful.
Exactly, and that's a great point. And that's why we're going to reach over to Natalia here now. And Natalia, we want to start off about the content creation side that you started with. So weave it in with us a little bit about your story, how you started, and how did you get to become sort of this content creator poster?
That's so nice. I think I hopped on the bandwagon when Facebook first started. I hopped on back in 2008. And when we first got on social media, I'm sure you guys remember, it was really just about connecting with your friends, writing on their wall. There wasn't a like button. There wasn't really any necessarily any validation that way. It was just you got on to Facebook because you wanted to say hi to your friends and write something silly.
Good old days.
And so I guess that's how I got started in just putting up content. I remember, we'd actually have to take photos on our camera. And like I'd always, the little selfies and things like that.
Yep.
Those are the best. And so just early days in high school, posting, uploading that digital stuff. And I just had so much fun. For me, social media is really just about kind of keeping a history. And I guess one thing that I feel like has made my page more robust is I'm always trying to do something new. So it's not really an intentional thing. I didn't really start out on Facebook or Instagram with that intention. I think it's just turned into that as I've gone older and wanted to progress in my professionalism and in the skills that I have. Every single year, I wanted to do something new. So I saw you recently at our ballet studio.
Yeah, thank you.
Which has been cool. And I've been doing that for almost a year. And it's just an adult ballet class. I am not professional by any stretch of the imagination.
Better than she said.
She's probably better than she says.
But I'm probably worse than you think that I am. So it's just been a fun thing that I've done. And then, before that, I was Miss Idaho for America. And I just did that pageant for fun. I wanted to challenge myself. When I started in the pageant world, I really only done one pageant. So it's not like I'm experienced or anything like
She's
that.
Pro.
But that's very nice. So I really just wanted to do it as I'm turning 30 this year. I should do something different. And that's kind of how that started. And because of that, they push you to post as well. So it gave me a reason to. I felt like I had kind of a call to tell that story. And then before that, just journalism. We're always documenting, always finding stories and putting it in a digital form and putting on a digital space just makes sense.
Right. Well, that's a good point. And do you have something that you want?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
because I think that's one of the things I was thinking of when I was watching and going through your socials is I noticed the documentary, and we hear a lot of people say all the time, right? Though, but my life's boring. No one's gonna care. No one would want to watch, right? How would you? Well, first off, what's your response to those comments?
Sure.
And second off, like how would you, if you were someone that feels that way, approach starting to document your life? Like, how would you make it content fun, like you said, and what would be the reasons for documenting their life?
Yeah. You're uniquely you. You're the only person that has your story. So there's no replicating you, right? So I think we can get intimidated because we're doing the comparison game.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they, have 6 kids and they have so much to talk about and I'm just whatever. But at the end of the day, you're the only one that can tell your story, and you are the person that is entitled to tell your story. You don't want anyone else telling your story. At least I don't. I want to tell it in my own words.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And I think a lot of people make that mistake is they want to get into a space, they want to be noticed. And so they jump on the bandwagon of like, oh, well, the people who I'm noticing are doing this. And then they kind of copy. And it's like a straight copy of what's already been done. They haven't even a lot of times they don't even make an attempt to put themselves into that. You can do the same thing and like add yourself into, add your own unique style into it. But yeah, too many people just copy and they don't oftentimes go anywhere.
right.
Yeah.
It's totally true.
So.
I think it depends on your intention and your objective. If you want to monetize content, I think that's something that you need to put a lot of research into, and you have to choose a niche. So if you want to do, the TikTok dance trends or meme type content like that, you do adopt that as a job. And so with any job, I would say you'd have to put at least 8 hours of work in a day, right, on that content, and doing research, having the nice equipment like you guys do, and you have to write.
Yeah, you
do have to write. So
when you were getting started, you're talking about time, putting in the time. How much? Okay, early on, right? How much time would you say you would typically put in?
Daily, weekly.
Yeah, weekly. Let's say. I mean,
that's an interesting question. I have a couple different pages. So I have one for like a curly hair workshop that I've done, and that you have to take time to pre-plan the content because you have to produce,
right,
and film. One of our videos, a simple maybe 30-second Kendrick Lamar trend that was going, it took us 2 hours to record that. Jeez. Because we had to learn the dance, everyone had to be in sync, we had to wear the same outfits, our hair needed to be the same, right? So, and then you have to edit it, right?
Yeah.
You have to edit it, you have to post it, and then you're posting it on multiple different platforms. And so by the end of one video, there's at least 6 hours behind that.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum, I would think.
And that's for a short.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even long form. So it's a time investment, right? But what are you reaping? But again, it goes back to intention. So with my personal page, my intention is I just want to document my life and have a history for my family. And
so like an hour a week or
something to look back on. Yeah, exactly. And for me, like I love posting stories or like posting to my highlights just because they are short form. One thing that I've really decided to do is that I'm going to do what I can do. So if I feel really pressed for time, I am probably just going to post 1 or 2 stories that week. But it needs to make sense for my highlights, or it needs to make sense for my audience, or to my intention, which is keeping a history. Yeah. So, and there's different things that I like.
Dan and I did an episode, which should have come out by the time this episode's out.
Yeah. Coming soon.
I'm just thinking about this. But we did an episode about brand. Okay. Oh, yeah. And in a way, Natalia has a brand, and it's kind of her personal brand. Sure. Right? So you're talking about your audience, and it has to make sense for your audience. I would say that ties in a lot to your brand as a person and who your audience are coming to you because of who you are, right? And you've crafted that. I mean, when it comes to your life, you are showing honest, like true, like, authenticity. Yeah. But that's carefully crafted, Even if you're authentic, you're still conscious of that.
Sure.
So
yeah, I like that. I'd say like stay true to the chapter that you're in. So right now, the chapter of my life, I just started dating somebody, and everybody loves.
Congrats!
It's been awesome, especially.
Do the motorcycle pics, man. You guys
right?
need to go check them out.
So it's like I'm kind of sharing my love story. Now I am protective of my love story, but also at the same time, I want to keep a history of it. I want to share it with my friends and family, and I don't want it to be something that I kind of hoard to myself as much as I want to. But I'm like, people are really excited about this, and I'm excited about this, and I want to stay true to the chapter in my life, and this is kind of what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
And then when that chapter shifts, then I talk about something else. But I don't think it's wise to like, we're just posting about, now I'm posting about ballet again, now I'm posting about track. I mean, you can, but I think it's important to stay true to those chapters and keep that content consistent. So
I like that. Stay true to the chapters.
And we totally get the privacy in terms of wedding videographers. We understand that.
Yeah, totally.
So, and I think that's something you guys need to be aware of is as you're posting and building these personal brands and stuff too, keep in the back of your mind cybersecurity. Like we are in a day and age where stuff happens. I have a potential bride I just was talking with today. They just got scammed $2,000 from theirs. Yeah.
That's awful.
So keep in mind security in the back of your mind when you guys do this. But okay.
Go ahead.
You took a breath in.
You've got something you want to say? I'm okay. I just breathing over here.
All right, so we're going to go into a new segment here where we've been talking a little bit about content creation with you, Natalia. I want to focus for a second about consistency. And how do you stay consistent? How do you talked about strategizing content. How do you strategize? How do you stay consistent? For those people that struggle to post regularly, how do you approach it for whichever profile you're using?
Sure. Well, like with my curly hair workshop, I mean, I kind of only really plan on doing it once a year. So I'm really not feeding that account right now because I don't need to. I mean, I can,
Yeah.
but I'm not really offering anything at the moment. So it just makes sense when it's in this season, I guess. And there's accounts like that, like TEDx accounts, like they'll kind of post in their season. So if you're doing like a seasonal thing, it's okay that, if you sell Christmas decor, maybe it's okay that you're not posting this summer, right? Things like that. I would say do what makes sense to you. So if it's overwhelming to plan a whole 6 weeks of content, maybe just think about what's the next thing I'm going to post. Maybe just be 2 steps ahead of yourself. And that's okay because at the end of the day, that's still planning ahead. That's still thinking ahead. Yeah. So I think we have an idea in our mind sometimes about, I need to be like, I can't even think, Joe Rogan or something. I don't know.
We're thinking we got to be 20 episodes ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like their job. And plus they have like 80 people working behind that podcast, right? That's a number that I don't know. But you have a team. And so it's people's jobs to be the content strategist and things like that. But when you're just doing it for yourself, it's okay to just think, okay, what am I going to post next? Right? What's the next right thing that I need to do? So I'm going to give a little analogy. This is about decorating.
Cool.
And it will apply, I promise. So just stay on this train with me. So when I was trying to figure out what decor I wanted to use for my curly workshop, I had this space in mind and I'm trying to plan around this space. Okay. And so I'm thinking like, well, what are the tables need and the walls and, how many tables do I have? And, I'm just thinking about the space in its entirety, but also I'm gonna use these colors. How much do I buy? And I was trying to plan it so much that it kept me from purchasing anything. I mean, you guys have probably felt that.
We have felt that a lot. Yep.
Exactly.
We've been there.
And you kind of, you make yourself stuck because you're just overly planning. And then somebody came up to me.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Analysis paralysis. Exactly.
Yep.
There's a good term for that. So then I had a friend just say, whenever I plan a party or an event, I just start buying things that I like. Mm-hmm. Just start buying things you like, and then we're just going to figure out where it fits in the space.
Smart.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like social media as well. Like, maybe you don't know exactly when to film or plan or whatever, but maybe I like filming in these moments, right? I like filming at birthdays. I like doing little snippets of my friends and I when we go out and we're taste testing at a cupcake shop. and then you figure out, now maybe I will post something about food this week. Maybe I will. So if you're in that gathering content phase, I think that's okay to stay there for a while.
Right.
So then you can kind of front load your content and then post when it makes sense with content that you've already made.
Yeah.
Just like with decor.
That's that's a huge concept, right? It's in a small box is just do it. I mean, you don't have to, and that's the thing too, is like, you don't have to go public with everything you're doing, right? But you still have to do something.
Yeah.
Even if it's back end stuff. We talked about analysis paralysis. We had a whole conversation about this in one of our past podcast episodes. But yeah, it stops. It stops more than half of business owners, I think, from even getting started with their dreams, and creatives too. So
I'd say I only post about 2% of what I film.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with us as wedding videographers. We do more than wedding, but like when it comes to weddings, right? People will be like, "How come it's not 30 minutes?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna show you. I'm gonna show you the best of the best."
I use like 3% of the footage, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I got 50 terabytes.
You were there for 8 hours.
You're like, that's not how that works.
You paid me for that time so that I can show you the best of the best.
Actually.
You know?
That makes sense. Yeah, you have to play the long game. You definitely have to play the long game. And I'm talking like years. Years. Not like months, not weeks.
Yep.
It's like, no, do it for a decade.
Yeah.
And then, correct as you go. But because we're so intimidated by what's out there, it just goes back to the analysis process. You kind of have to shut your brain off and just say, I really am passionate about this. I'm on fire for this. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like I had a student, he's been wanting to do this sports podcast for so long. And he comes up to me this last week and he says, Sister Hepworth, I just started my podcast. And I was like, yes, dude. Like, I'm so excited. Like, that's so cool, And I see him posting and whatever, 5 likes, who cares? Like, I'm just so proud of my student, like, taking that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, those initial, 100 followers, 1,000 followers, they're just so proud of you. Like, they are supporting you and rooting for you. And the critics are so few and far between. Like, really, we're our own worst critic.
Oh, yeah.
And there's videos out there, there's content creators still that have been doing it for over a decade, and their stuff isn't polished. It's scrappy.
Yeah.
But they're consistent.
And it's the consistency that breaks through. And I think it's not about the perfection. There are perfectionists that do a really good job. Like, I mean, but even like, this is a little bit more creative, but we're creatives. Dan and I are creatives, but a guy named Parker Walbeck, I don't know if you are familiar with him. He's a freelance filmmaker who just kind of set the tone for the industry for the last like decade and probably the next one.
He knew that video was going to be big. So he
awesome.
made the #1 online film school replacement course in the world.
But the thing is, like, he started off like having pretty much no traction in the beginning. Like,
have you seen this first video where he's just chugging milk?
Yes. So he started in the music
We'll
video.
show you. We'll
We'll have to show you.
That's awesome.
The guy started out he came home from summer sales and he did a music video where he chugs milk and it was awful, but like he put out the content anyways, and he did a few of those, I think, but then he realized as he did that he began to change. He began to realize, hey, as he put out the content, he's like, wait, I like the filming aspect of this more. And that's another reason I think, and I'd like to dive into for a second too, is why you put in the content, because it helps you develop and you kind of hone in on what you're good at and what you like.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
how's that? Has that principle played much into how you've managed things?
I think
Because you probably started at a place, now you're at a kind of a different place than when you started, I would imagine, right?
Sure. I think, just like with the chapters in your life, just kind of like what I mentioned before, it just changes. But you're right, you do adapt to kind of what suits your style, your personality. And I really love like what I do. I love the short form content, and I've been like, I want to do long form. I want to do long form.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't have time. I keep envisioning myself with like all of this time at some future point where I'm going to do all these cool things, which, maybe when that season of life comes, then I will be able to do long form, but I'll be realistic. I do not like editing that stuff.
Yeah.
I do not like editing it.
We feel that.
Like I am 90-second girly because that's what I did in journalism for so long. Was the 90-second cut. Like you do a 90-second news story, 60-second news story, 30-second news story.
And a lot of you guys are going to be videographers that are listening to, especially you'll be able to relate to this. But those 90-minute like documentary style like editorials, they're
they can
so
still
fun.
eat. Like they can still eat, and if that's your vibe, like don't be ashamed.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But it is
permission.
It is a lot, and in today's world too, it's people don't typically just sit down and watch that, which is why I think short form content is so big right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, where you're doing more short form content, that's probably pushing you. That's probably pushing your audience more than that long form content would at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd also be willing to bet that I if you did put out something long form, because you've been doing this for long enough, you have a stable body of people who are interested in you and are watching you.
That's very nice. Thank you.
You probably, if you put out something long form, people would watch it. I'd watch it.
Thank you.
She's making a movie in 2026.
We'll not do that.
Italian movie.
Do not promise them something they will not get.
Dan is solo producing it.
But wow, that's exciting.
He's committed 175
I'm ready
hours
now.
to this project.
That's great. That's great. But I don't know. It's, it really just depends on what your goal is. So I think it really just goes back to objective and intention. Like at the end of the day, and then you have to put in the time. Yeah. Right? Like
10,000 hours, guys.
You have to put in the time. And so be realistic about that. And if it's not the season of life, like it's okay. Don't be ashamed of that. Really, because sometimes maybe you do have a parent that's sick, or your job is not the best right now. You have to work extra hours and things. Yeah. I think, obviously you do need to invest the time, but if you do not have the time to invest, do not beat yourself up about that. Sometimes God will just allow your timeline to smooth out when it's right for you. I do believe that. I believe that. Oh, yeah. I mean, there are times where I'm like, man, I'm on fire on social media right now. And there's other times where I'm like, I've not posted in 3 months. What
would you say, because a lot of people that are going to, just about everyone that tries to produce anything is going to go through that. Yeah. Whether it's content creation or not. What would you tell those people to motivate them to get through those dead seasons? Because they can be long and they can be really tough.
I would just continue to stick to bite-sized things. One thing that has helped me, if you've read Atomic Habits, that's been an awesome...
Dan?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Dan's about to go home and read Atomic Habits.
By James Clear. Okay. It's really good. But one principle that I liked is habit stacking.
Yes.
And just, budding on a habit.
I am familiar with that.
Okay.
I'm familiar with habit stacking.
Sorry. Continue.
Do you know habit stacking?
I do.
I know. I believe it. But if it makes sense to me for my schedule, like if I'm already doing something, I could just tack one more thing on.
Yeah.
So maybe you just do something small and attach it to something that you're already doing. Yeah. And then move from there. Or maybe it's, maybe I'm not producing or publishing every day, but I'm gathering information every day. I'm watching an educational YouTube video. I'm reading something that's going to help me become a better creator. I'm collaborating. Listening
to a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's a huge principle too, is you're not always going to be doing the same thing, right? There are going to be times when things kind of shift or you're off season per se. And you can't lose momentum in those times. You have to be able to know where to put your energy, even if it's not where you would put it when you're on season, right?
Or maybe it's just like building out a vision for yourself. Like one thing that I've tried to do more of, I will still write my goals. I'll still write out, I do hope in the future that I can have my sister-in-law and I really want to do a podcast together. And we've written it down and we've drafted our first episode, but there's a lot of things going on for both of us. And so we're not going to forget about this.
Podcasts, as Dan and I have learned.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot more than there's a lot more than surface level.
Yeah. But something that's fun for us. And so it's we're not going to forget about this, but also we realize that our families are doing different things and the timing. So it's okay to just have that dream and just remind yourself of it and just promise yourself, make that promise to yourself that you are going to make it happen. And sometimes you do have to kind of deny yourself of your wants. Like if you really want this, you're going to have to make some sacrifices.
Oh yeah.
Time or energy. If you want something, you have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
It just, you have to.
Yeah, I don't think anything's really ever come. I mean, with the exception of maybe lottery winners, which are you're more likely to get hit by lightning, I think, several times over.
Totally.
But anything that's worth anything is going to take effort on your part. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're not going to fall into your lap, right?
It's going to be painful.
It's going to be painful. And I think there's a big power in the ability to know your limits, know what you are capable of, and know what you are just not.
Yeah.
And so I actually have another question for you too.
Oh, of course.
Not for you, for her.
Oh no, I know.
I have another question for Natalia here.
Yeah, for sure.
there's a lot of power in the power of saying no. Have you ever had times when you had to say no to something that you really wanted to do because
Or
you knew it
client.
was just going to be it was going to be too much?
Sure.
Have you ever had that experience before?
Yes.
Because you do a lot. And I know that you have, I think, a bigger
That's
capacity
because
than
I'm
a
bad
lot
at
of
saying no.
well, at least it's in the open, but you get a lot done. And I think you get done more than most people because they just aren't willing to put in the effort or they don't know
That's
their
very
limits.
kind.
But have you ever had a
Sometimes
point where you have hit
I'm
your
a human
limit?
too. Yeah.
Have you had a point where you've ever hit your limit and you're like, I just can't?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
how's that made you feel? How have you worked through that?
Absolutely. Well, you get to a point where it's always like you want to give people the perfect explanation, but either way, like they have what they want. And if you're not fulfilling that, then
Yeah.
you're like public enemy number one, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like you're just going to have to live with the fact that somebody probably is not going to like you or like your answer,
Yep.
and it will suck. And maybe it does ruin a relationship. I mean, that's an extreme.
Yeah.
Or it it puts a damper on your relationship for a little bit because those relationships are important. But at the end of the day, like if you get that sinking feeling and it's just not going to work, you just have to be honest. And like that's the best thing you can do. And even if they're upset, I find that God does this really cool thing of like replacing you with somebody else. Like somebody
Yeah.
else, they will find someone else that can fulfill that job that they need to be done. And the other thing is, am I answering to their requests or am I answering to my own requests?
Oh, good point.
And so I feel like when we give our time away so frequently, we're becoming reactors, just constantly reacting.
Well, and as
And
creatives
it's
too.
hard.
As creatives too, if you keep giving too much of your time, right,
Yeah.
then you become overwhelmed, and then you're stacked up
Totally.
with 10 edits, and then your business crumbles anyways, or it becomes less, or it's not fun. You're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
10 posts behind.
Yeah.
Like, totally. And you're not viable. And like, then you become
Yep.
kind of almost like dishonest in your work where you're like promising things that you can't deliver on. And so it's best to just be honest and be like, you know what? I would love to work on this right now, but I cannot realistically get to this for 6 months.
Yeah.
And if that's offensive to somebody, well, you were honest.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a hard pill to swallow.
And that it is a hard pill to swallow. And I think all of us here at this table have swallowed a few pills.
I feel like you guys are thinking of the
You're
same
not-
person that you've interacted with
Well,
recently. Or something.
We have a
okay.
couple
Well,
we-
Dan and I have a
Yeah.
lot of people we've interacted with, but
Some that are we both have touched bases with.
Yeah.
yeah. But
We won't say
Unpleasant.
names.
we won't say names.
Totally.
Dan and I have so far managed to not say names.
Yeah.
One of these days we're gonna say something.
Yeah,
It's just
I
gonna
know.
come out. But I'm gonna be like, oh, this freaking, oh shoot, we'll have to cut it. You know?
Oh, no.
Oh no. So a huge part of being a part of content creation is knowing people. I mean, you're a people person, right? I mean,
It's social media.
it's social media, like social, and that's what Natalia mentioned that earlier. But it used to be you connect people, and I think this is one of the other reasons we brought Natalia on. She's incredible at connecting with people.
literally professional level.
She has, she's great with making connections and in long term connections.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that in mind, we wanted to ask you what would you do differently now if you had to start all over and you had no network? To get the network you have now, what steps would you take? How would you approach connecting with those people?
Sure. Well, I just like making friends. I don't know if I would necessarily do anything different just because I feel like it's a gift that the Lord's given me. I don't know. I just feel like I've always been pretty good at making friends, but I think maybe
Let's say that your friends all. This is
They say I
terrible.
didn't have any
Let's say
friends.
that you're
would I
all your
have?
friends left. Let's say they all moved out. I don't know.
Sure.
And you had no friends and you didn't know anyone in an area. What
Brand new
would you?
city.
Yeah.
How would you start? How would you start
well,
getting connected?
I think you just have to put yourself in awkward situations.
Someone,
You really
someone said
do.
it, but yes.
You do have to put yourself in awkward situations.
Elaborate. Yeah.
So before my first job, I decided that I was going to go to a networking event with different media outlets in the area. And of course, I didn't really know anybody. I knew the brands. I was familiar with the brands, but I just took my resume and went to this networking event by myself. I didn't have any friends to go with, but I knew that I needed to put in some effort if I was going to get a job after graduating from BYU Idaho. So I went to this event and just handed my resume out, and I got a couple of interviews from our local news agencies from it. And that's actually how I got really pushed into my first gig with EastIdahoNews.com was because of that networking event. But if I was to kind of start over, I think something that I would do now that I've kind of seen, because my parents are entrepreneurs, so I think that I would be going to meetings with them and maybe kind of involving myself with the things that they do, even if it's not necessarily in the same field, just getting to know the professionals that they do, because who knows who I'm going to do a story about? Right. Who knows who I'm going to interact with out in the field. So I think maybe just starting with family, even if it's like, hey, you have a really cool floral business. Can I help you? Volunteer for things. Be okay with volunteering for things and putting yourself in situations that you normally wouldn't. But you get to rub shoulders with really cool people. Like even in Rexburg, they do a soup kitchen there. Yeah. And some of the people that are volunteering are professionals from the community, right? Who you wouldn't realize that you are volunteering with. So it's okay to put yourself in a situation that you normally wouldn't.
And I'm a very socially awkward person. I have to force myself to not be socially awkward. But like for me as this person, like, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people like this too, but like I'm inherently an introvert, very, very shy. Going to an event like that is extraordinarily difficult. Natalia makes it look very easy, and nice. It's not. You obviously that takes a lot of courage from anyone to go and just put yourself out there. Sure. I think we all have a fear of looking like an idiot.
Yeah, totally.
We all have a fear of looking dumb. And blowing past that, I think, is a huge battle to win for almost anyone.
Yeah.
And forcing yourself to go through it and just pushing yourself through is one great way to get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say also, if you don't mind me adding,
of course.
I think we are kind of afraid of that initial icebreaker conversation.
Yeah.
And one thing that my dad always taught me was that you ask somebody their first and last name, and you ask where they're from, the town that they're from specifically. Because some people like to say the next largest town next to their small town. Ask like the town that they're actually from. And that's a really good way for people to just kind of start talking about themselves. And I feel the more you can get someone to talk about themselves, you actually really don't have to do anything, right? Like you actually just kind of enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So one thing that I tried to do with my pageant when I went to nationals in Las Vegas was I wanted to get to know every girl by their state and their name. Cool. So that I could cheer them on when they're on stage by their name instead of just saying Oklahoma or whatever, or Hawaii. I can actually use their name. So because I challenged myself to do that, I actually ended up winning Miss Congeniality, the Miss Congeniality Award. Now, I wasn't trying for that, but it was so cool that just by asking, what's your name? I really want to cheer on you. I really want to cheer you on during practice. It yielded results that I didn't even think would be possible, but they were so positive. So maybe when you go to your next networking event, just think of 3 questions, what's your name, where you're from, tell me about a local restaurant that you love eating at in your hometown. And people open up.
Yeah. I think that ties into a principle, I think. There's a phrase for it. It's people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
I love that.
And if you go into a room full of people, especially people who are have a similar interest to you, and you try to come across as that, like the awesome guy who like knows everything.
Show off.
People don't really care about that. But you go in and you care about other people, it works. Like people are way more interested in you if you're interested in them first.
Yeah.
Well, especially in our industry, right? Again, we said this multiple times on the podcast, guys. We are at its core, whether you're photo, video, DJ, whatever, we are a service-based industry. And so you should be caring. It shouldn't just be how much money can you get out of someone. Yeah. It should be how can I help this person or this business grow? Yeah. How do I help them knowing that you will receive in return?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I would say that everyone, I would imagine that every person that is talking to Natalia and she's asked those questions to feels valued.
Feel cared about.
They feel cared about. Yeah. She has shown genuine interest in them, and now they're more likely to be converted to Natalia. They're going to show interest in her life. And now look, she's got a following. She's got people who are interested in her life, and she's gone places with that too.
Yeah,
so
Las Vegas, holy crap.
Yeah, no.
So to wrap up here, I want to ask one final question to Natalia. All right, and we'll have you address the cameras, address the audience here on this one. What advice would you have for brand new creators or just creators in the East Idaho region, not just Southeast, East Idaho? Like, over to Twin Falls. What advice would you give to creators on how to be consistent and network better?
Okay, awesome. As far as consistency, do what makes sense for you. Do what fits in your talent toolbox. Don't obviously be afraid to learn something new or learn a new skill, but it's okay to start where you are. Just continue to be consistent. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's once a month. But as long as you have that small goal and you keep at it and have those personal victories, you're going to gain momentum in your consistency. As far as networking, don't be afraid to put yourself in awkward situations. If it's a church event or maybe you're doing something with your neighborhood or your community, don't be afraid to volunteer. You do just have to maybe get outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it's, you know what, I'm actually going to reach out to a friend online who I haven't talked to in a while, or I'm going to reach out to my neighbor. You can start in small ways that will make a large impact, but it's just continuing to be persistent and consistent that's going to yield you those results.
Okay, guys, this has been an awesome episode. We've had a pleasure of having Natalia on with us. And again, so much to learn here, so much to unpack here. We're going to drop her socials beneath this. So go give her a follow, give her a like. Give us a like too, preferably. But
But thanks for being here, Natalia.
Thank you so much. And guys, if you guys have any questions for Natalia, please drop a comment, send us a DM. We'll happily pass it along. You can also message her yourself. But guys, if you have any questions about anything, content related or not, send us a message.
See you the next episode,
See you guys.